I am 17, adopted. My birth parents weren't able to care for a newborn and I ended up in foster care cause of it. I was adopted by my family when I was 2. I have a very happy life, one I likely wouldn't have with my birth parents. About a month ago, my birth parents got into contact with my family. Long story short, my birth father is sick and needs a bone marrow transplant. They are on a wait list but haven't heard back just yet. I am the only child they ever had, and odds are I am a match. Pretty much they wanted my parents to get me tested and then donated my marrow to him. My parents told me that it's up to me and after some thought, I said no. I don't know them other than they gave birth to me. They have had no part in my life whatsoever and now they suddenly need me. Well, they send my parents a nasty message saying they can sue to force me to donate my marrow. I do feel a little bad, but I feel like this isn't my problem. Am I the idiot? Edit, I have no contact or anything with my birth parents. From what my parents told me, I was put into foster care when I was less than a month old. That is how they got me, and they decided to adopt me, which was finalized when I turned 2. I have 4 siblings and I have a great life. They told me when I was old enough that I am adopted, but outside of that I had no idea who my birth parents were or what they even looked like. Not the idiot. I donated bone marrow to my sister 5 years ago. It was no small thing, I had complications with the surgery, couldn't walk for 2 weeks, etc. It was really painful. I was going to give you sort of a pep talk about doing it anyway, since you would be potentially saving a life, even if it's the life of a complete stranger. That was until I read the line about how they threatened to sue you to force you to donate. That's the most tragically hilarious thing I've ever read. You cannot force a person to undergo a voluntary surgery. You should call their bluff. Not the idiot. Even your adoptive parents can't force you to do something like that, let alone the biological parents who gave up their parental rights. I'm not an attorney, but I believe they can force you to go to the screening for it, at which time you tell the personnel doing the screening that you do not consent to the procedure, and they tell any concerned parties that you are not a candidate to donate. No ethical medical personnel will touch you after you've made clear that you do not consent to the donation, barring a court order to do so. Not the idiot, and you absolutely have no obligation to donate. It was certainly an unpleasant and unkind move on their part to leave your adoptive parents a horrible message. You don't owe them anything. That said, are you absolutely certain you won't get tested? Well, you owe your birth father nothing. A blood bone marrow donation, which may not be particularly hard for you, might save his life. It's a big decision and if you're resolute in it then fine, but sometimes it's good to just think through some of these things for a little longer. I have a housemate, Jillian 26, who is severely allergic to peanuts. There are 5 of us who rent a house together, and we all agreed to put a label in our food containers to help keep Jillian safe and avoid contamination. I have a mini fridge in my room where I store my drinks so that I don't have to go to the kitchen if I want a drink in the middle of the night. Well, last Friday my Filipino girlfriend gave me an authentic Filipino dish for lunch at work. It's an oxtail stew with a rich peanut sauce. It's in a glass container, and I saved some so I can have it for dinner. When I got home I put it in my mini fridge, but I forgot to eat it that night because we ordered pizza for dinner. Saturday I went out with my girlfriend and got home at around 9 p.m. When I arrived, Jillian's girlfriend, Trish, confronted me saying I almost killed Jillian. I didn't know what she was talking about. She went on saying how irresponsible of me to not label the food in my mini fridge. I asked one of our housemates what the hell happened, and he said Jillian had an allergic reaction to my stew because I didn't put a label on the container. I told them it's inside my personal mini fridge, and how dare they enter my room. Trish said they were looking for beer when they saw my stew. She and another housemate ate it. Jillian only tasted it and she had an anaphylactic shock where they had to use her EpiPen to stop the swelling. Trish then demanded that I need to pay for the EpiPen. I told them that is not going to happen. If anything, they should apologize to me for trespassing and stealing my food. They called me an idiot. She and 3 housemates said I nearly caused Jillian her life, and the least I could do is apologize and pay for the EpiPen. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. There was a simple reason why the stew was in your mini fridge in your room. It was freaking yours. The way you describe it, it seemed that you didn't intend on sharing it with anyone and that you wanted to eat it yourself. Why should you label it then? Besides, taking food without asking is just rude. It may sound harsh, but I would say they are more at fault than you ever could be in this scenario. If anyone should replace the EpiPen, it's them. They're asking you to pay for their theft. Not the idiot, put a lock on your door. They should cobble the money together if they want to get Jillian a new EP, but really she needs to take responsibility too. She's 26, she should know better to never try strange food without verifying that it is safe. By the way, peanut sauce in any dish still smells very like peanuts, they must have already been drunk or very stupid. Oftentimes the smell is enough to trigger an anaphylactic reaction in someone with a severe allergy. You might want to consider never bringing nuts into this shared home again too, just in case. Sorry they entered your room and ate food without knowing what it was. The first thing was thievery, and then they blamed you for their bad behavior. I hope Jillian learns, don't eat food from people's mini fridges unless invited. It would be different if you had served the dish to everyone or put it in the communal fridge where food became cross-contaminated. This is purely on them. Okay, I've been holding off a while posting this because I know a lot of my family uses Reddit and it'll be easy for them to know it's me, but I don't care anymore. I am 19, the product of an affair. I have 4 siblings, between 25 and 30, and I haven't talked to any of them since I was like 10. I lived with my mom till I was 5, then went to visit my aunt and uncle for weeks at a time. I'd stay with them 4 weeks, then go back home for a weekend and back with them for the same time. That soon became my new normal. The days I was home my mom and her husband would argue, and it was obviously about me. He couldn't stand to be in the same room as me, look at me, just acknowledge me at all, and she acted like it was okay. I can't blame him for not liking me, but it was still screwed up on a level. Then maybe a year and a half later I stopped going home and my aunt and uncle became my guardians. My belongings were shipped to me and that was about it. My mom visited me on holidays, but that was all I seen or heard of her. Then around 9 years old she stopped contacting me altogether. As I got older I no longer seen my mom as a mother, seen my aunt and uncle as my parents instead. I'll skip all the boring details, but fast forward before my high school graduation, back in June, they sent out emails to us asking if we'd like to make any changes to our personal info before everything was put in our yearbooks, and I took that chance to change my last name to the same as aunt and uncle. Because we didn't get a regular graduation and our diplomas was mailed to us, we didn't receive them until 2 months after we graduated. I got it 3 weeks ago. I posted it on social media and showed my aunt and uncle. Things got us super emotional, but they loved it. Now I don't have any of my siblings or mom on social media, so I'm assuming a distant family member that I do have must have told her about it because she got in contact with me that same day on Messenger and asked why people were asking her about my name. When I told her I changed my last name on my diploma, she got mad that I didn't check with her to see if it was okay. This is where I feel I might be the idiot. I told her she was barely a mother to me and she cared more about being with her husband than raising her daughter. I said I was legally going to change my last name anyways and don't need or want her permission. She said I should at least get my name hyphenated, and I told her I didn't want any part of her last name as it meant nothing to me. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Don't fall into the trap of trying to protect your mom from the consequences of her own actions, including feelings of guilt. It's all on her. You were a child, and you had literally no say in any of this. Also, probably consider seeing a therapist to work through some of these things. It'll help with future trickiness in this dynamic, and it'll help with not allowing this to affect your future friendships and relationships. Your mom wasn't a significant person in your life raising you. Your aunt and uncle were. If you want to change your name to theirs, that's your right. If they had adopted you, which they essentially did, you'd have changed your name. I don't see why this is significantly different. Your mom is sad. Sad that you don't see her as your mom, and sad that she failed at being a wife and mother. That's her cross to bear. Not yours. Not the idiot. Mom literally abandoned you for almost a decade and she gives a surprised face that you don't see her as your mom. Your relationship with her is comparable to those random distant relatives you only see every couple of years at a family reunion, if that. Send her a letter that says, sorry you feel that way, but the bottom line is you made choices to make your life comfortable, and those choices did not include being part of my life. I am simply taking a page out of your playbook and doing what is best for me. The only good thing was sending me to aunt and uncle. They are the best parents I've ever known, as made evident by my wanting to take their name. Have a nice life. My 27 child, 6, likes to wear masculine and feminine clothes and has been switching between the two for over a year now. Some days he will ask to wear dresses and others he will ask for trousers or shorts. His dad and I have always been supportive of this, however other members of my family are not taking too kindly to it. I have made it clear to them that we are allowing our child to be who he is, and usually the family members will be a little disgruntled, but accept it. Today a family member called me and told me I had to stop letting him wear dresses. I told them I would not be doing that. They proceeded to tell me if I wasn't going to do that, then I at least had to stop him wearing dresses around them, and I was not allowed to post pictures of my child on my social media accounts wearing feminine clothes because some people had been talking and it was upsetting my mum. I said no, if people are judging a 6-year-old over a dress, they are the problem and don't deserve to be in his life. They kept bringing up that he would be bullied and he would blame me in the future. I tried to explain that whilst I understood where they were coming from, research shows allowing children to be themselves at a young age decrease the chances of mental health issues later in life, and that current pediatric research encourages allowing children to explore their identity and encourage those around them to be supportive of it. The phone call ended with me putting the phone down. I'd also like to add that my child is doing well in school, is happy and healthy, and is one of the most confident 6-year-olds you will meet. I also have a degree in psychology and have experience working in mental health care, so I feel like I know the signs to be looking out for if something isn't right with him. He is showing no signs of dysphoria and is fine with his name and he or him pronouns. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Here is what my response would be: I am sorry you feel that way. We will make sure that he isn't around you to offend you anymore. I will continue to post what I please on my social media. Would you like me to share with you a link that teaches you how to unfriend me so that you can remove yourself from seeing my child being who he is? Stop arguing with these fools. You are your child's parent. At the end of the day, if your child is being bullied at school for this, he likely will self-regulate and stop wearing them if it bothers him. And the adults that have a problem with it can just take a hike. That said, I'm really glad I was a child before social media was a thing. I'd be very uncomfortable knowing a bunch of pics of me as a child were floating around out there. I fully support people dressing however they want, or being gay or trans or what have you, but I also fully support people having as much control as possible over the distribution of their likeness. If it were me, I'd cool it with the social media for 6-8 years until he's old enough for informed consent, but I realize that's a minority opinion these days. As a mom of a non-binary child who is now almost 19, I think you guys are being great parents. My ex-husband and my parents have the same point of view as your family. My ex-husband is no longer in the picture, but my parents are, and they are rude. My dad actually told my son to dress like a human when he visits. I'm not even sure what that means since wearing clothes makes him human. My son ignores him and continues to dress as he pleases, with my support. Just keep doing what you are doing. No one has the right to tell you how to parent. They don't have to agree, but since they aren't your child's parents, they don't get a say. Just ignore them and keep on validating your child, his feelings, and his wishes to be non-binary. You're doing fabulous. So me and my boyfriend live together in a fairly large rented house, despite the fact that neither of us want children. The house has 4 decently sized bedrooms, one of which is our bedroom, while one is an office. The other 2 are empty. Despite the fact that we don't have kids, we are avid pet lovers, and we own a 3-year-old Rottweiler, a 1-year-old bulldog, as well as a 7-year-old cat. Yesterday, my brother asked me to watch his children, since he had to go to the hospital due to his wife breaking her leg. I was the only one available at the time, so my brother dropped his children, a 9-year-old boy and a 7-year-old girl, off at our house. Unfortunately, this arrangement wasn't suitable for us, since we'd made plans to drop our dogs off at a doggy spa while we went to the mall. I called my friend, who agreed to look after the kids. I compensated her monetarily, even though she told me there was no need to. My brother has never met this friend, but I'd never leave any child in a dangerous position. While we were at the mall, my brother calls me to ask me where we are. I told him that his kids were at my friend's house. He was furious with me and hung up on the phone soon after. Around 30 minutes later, my friend calls to say that my brother has picked the kids up and that he was irate, to say the least. My brother has tried to call me since, but I haven't picked up the phone since I know he likely only wants to have an argument with me. Today, my dad called me to ask me why I'd chosen my dumb dogs over my nephew and niece, which irritated me. I told my dad that while I feel sorry for his wife, it isn't my responsibility to drop everything and look after children that aren't even mine. I also told him that if he's going to insult my family, then he shouldn't expect to walk me down the aisle. I know my choice of words could have been kinder, however, I don't think it's fair to impose the responsibility of looking after kids on me when I've made the decision to not have any. Am I the idiot? You're the idiot. Sorry, your sister-in-law didn't plan her leg break around your schedule. I don't like kids, I don't like watching kids. But if I was the only person available to watch them because of a medical emergency, you bet your bippy I would. And pawning your brother's kids off to someone he's never met before. Big nope. I'd get your reaction if he and his wife wanted a spur-of-the-moment date night, but you've basically told your whole family that you care more for them all than you do for them during their time of need. Nice. It isn't like he asked you to babysit while he and his wife went on a date night. She was in the hospital. He thought he could rely on you in an emergency, and you responded by giving his children to a total stranger, to him, and going to the mall. You've proven that you won't support your family in a crisis. I'm not surprised he was furious. You were a huge idiot. I don't have children, nieces, or nephews, but heck if one of my neighbors showed up and asked me to babysit for a few hours while they went to the hospital, I'd rearrange my doggy spa. Unfortunately, this arrangement wasn't suitable for us since we'd made plans to drop our dogs off at a doggy spa while we went to the mall. This isn't even a matter of picking the dogs over the kids, you chose shopping at the mall over any regard or concern to your brother's kids and his wife's well-being. This was an emergency situation, and you chose to leave the kids with some perfect stranger. Doesn't matter if you knew the friend, neither the kids nor your brother knew them, rather than just help for a couple of hours until your brother could figure things out with taking care of both wife and kids while she recovers. I hope that massive sale was worth the heart attack and sheer panic you gave your brother.